And then there are pictures of Jeffrey Epstein at Disney where this man is holding this very clearly young girl who is also seen in pictures on the jet going to the island. So it's kind of like, if the argument is that Disney was not helping to funnel children to this demon island, I'm seeing a lot of evidence to the contrary of that. And in fact, it doesn't actually cut it, Newsweek, to say there's no credible evidence for it when, what is all this? What is all this? I mean, Ghislaine was all up in there. And see this scene from Pinocchio where they're talking about little boys who go to Pleasure Island.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that local recordings are now available on StreamYard. Have you ever done a recording where your guests just had terrible internet issues? They were blurry, they were freezing, you could almost hardly hear them. Well, with local recordings from StreamYard, you'll be able to download a perfect quality video from your guests after the show. This means that no matter what you or your guest's internet connection is like, you'll be able to download the perfect high quality recording every single time. You can also download both a separate audio and a separate video file for the hosts and guests. Now with StreamYard, you can have freeze-free, studio-quality recordings on any connection, anywhere in the world. You can choose to download them, stream them later, or edit and repurpose them. It's your turn to test out local recordings today. Now available on StreamYard.
That's pretty terrifying. Does that definitively show that there was this Disney to Epstein pipeline? No. But when you start connecting enough dots, it just looked a little wonked, right? And it's not as if a network that is dedicated to children's programming is suddenly above reproach or above questioning, because you look at Nickelodeon housing Dan Schneider for decades. You look at the fact that, statistically, it's people that go into positions.
You listen, kidding. You were here, you were fine, you were sleeping.
Hurting them. Jared from Subway
now
was
you're
involved
mailing
in
again.
all of these kids' charities and would go around speaking to charities, speaking to rooms full of kids. They get near their victims. That's how it works. And far be it for me to be a thinking person, right? Far be it for me to look at their website, Live, Loud, and in Color, which says that they go to this island, and then not necessarily be convinced by fact checkers saying that there's no proof of it, when you can just go to the website, right? And then you see how much involvement they have with Disney, and it's kind of like, I don't know. Make up your own mind, but for me, that's some pretty dark stuff. Oh God, this one is like demented as hell. White visitors to Vancouver Art Gallery can compare their faces to infamous Nazis. So if you're not aware, there's this truly sick and twisted art gallery in Vancouver funded by the Canadian government that tells white people to stop talking, enjoy discomfort, check their privilege, vocalize their ignorance. It's basically just for the woke white libs who want to walk through and just need to feel something, for the first time in their lives. And they get abused by the exhibit, and they, get off on that because they're sick.
Okay, so maybe you've seen this tweet about a new anti-white exhibit at the Vancouver Art Gallery. The exhibit is actually so much worse than this tweet, and I know because I went there. Predictably, it tells you to check your privilege. It puts a halo that says undeserving over your head. Stop talking, it's a mute button over your mouth. But then it gets downright schizophrenic. There's this exhibit display where it argues that because Roman and Greek sculptures had fluffy curly hair, they were not white. You were then afforded the opportunity to use the Aryan recognition tool and compare your facial measurements with the facial measurements of the leaders of the Third Reich. This incomplete timeline of the circumstances that influenced the emergence and evolution of white racial identity tells white people that their identity is all about slavery, the KKK, colonialism, etc. The last item on it is the January 6th insurrection.
Of course.
Anyway, go read the full thing on True North.
Y'all are really sick and twisted. This is disgusting. To make people feel, potentially small children, walking into this art gallery, that their entire identity is made up of only the evils of their people. Their people. I don't even like the language, their people. Like, I understand being connected to your culture, but, like, for me, I've always just found it weird to even connect with, like, people that are not in your bloodline, like, directly, and, like, you know, your family, like, just the whole idea of, like, answer for what black people do, answer for what white people do. It's like, y'all in that collective brain is just too much for me. I mean, most people today walk through life so desperate to be told who they are. They want it so damn bad. They have such a lack of identity that they want their, you know, search for who they are simplified, and they just want to be told what they are. You're the oppressor. You're the victim. You're being discriminated against. You're responsible for this. And it becomes their identity. But the difficulty in that is, it is ripping apart society. The idea that there are children that are going to walk into this museum and be told that everything that makes them what they are amounts to only these evils of the past that have nothing to do with them. And then you have children of color in American schools being brought up that the sum of who they are is, you know, people who aren't them being victimized in the past. And they're not taught that that's something that they can overcome. They're taught that that's something that will always be present and it's part of their identity. But the problem with being told what your identity is that it's very hard to unglue from it. So the Dartmouth Scar Study was a study that brought a bunch of women together to go out on job interviews, and they would put special effects, you know, prosthetic scarring on their faces. The goal was to send them out and collect data on how people with facial deformities are discriminated against during job interviews. But last second, before they actually left to go do the interviews, they touched up their makeup, the researchers, and they removed the scarring. They got rid of it, but they didn't tell the women. Amazingly, they actually came back and reported massive levels of discrimination. They reported that there were, you know, offensive comments made about them, that they were being treated badly, and they actually had direct quotes from the interviewers that they perceived to be discriminatory. And the moral of that story is, you create your own reality. If you go into the world expecting to find discrimination, hatred, things stacked up against you at every turn, that's what you're going to find. That's the frequency that you're tuned into, baby girl. So that's the danger in raising millions of young people in this country and telling them that they are victims. That's all they're ever going to see. And that's the opposite of empowerment.
Daddy teaches you can be anything in this world that you want to be, right? Don't Daddy teach you that?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white or any color.
Doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, yellow, right?
Black.
And how we treat people is based on who they are and not what color they are.
And if they're nice and smart.
See, this is how children think right here. Critical race theory wants to end that. Not with my children. It's not gonna happen. My baby's gonna know that no matter what she wants to be in life, all she has to do is work hard, and she can become that.
Work hard, even though you don't know anyone. You can make friends.
Yeah, you can make friends, no matter what color they are. So we need to stop CRT. Period. Point blank. Children do not see skin color, man. They love everybody. If they're good people, they love them.
We pray for people that are hurt.
So then you have to ask yourself, why is there such a push in academia, in the school system, in the corporate press, in government, to feed people this narrative that they are victims, that the lump sum of their life adds up to victimhood? Because it's just another mechanism to keep you down, like syndrome, to give you that identity, because they know that most people don't stray from the identity that they're given at a young age. And they package it in a way that gaslights you into thinking that you're being empowered, but they're really writing your story for you. And if you allow it to be told by them, you will always be a victim and you will never succeed in life. That's how it works. And it's sick and it's dark. And then y'all want to attack people who refuse to call themselves victims. I believe there's power in what you speak over your own life. There's power in what you call yourself. There's power in your own narrative that you tell yourself about your place on this earth. So it's pretty sick. And y'all are really some crab in the bucket ass bitches that someone like me doesn't identify with the word victim and I'm like a problem. That's sick. But I'm not getting down like that. I'm not going down there in the bucket. I crawled my way out and I see that my life is what I make it. And that anyone trying to tell me that I'm a victim or an oppressor has an agenda that's above me, baby. That's on you. Whatever fucking psyop you're trying to run on me, maybe you have it and it worked on you, so now you're trying to spread it, but no thank you. Sending it right back to you. All that bullshit, all that simpleton thinking, you can keep it, babe. Don't want it.
US gender can be any white means experience.
I was really enjoying my demon-free holiday break, but clearly I should not have been gone that long because it seems as if the problem has expanded. It seems as if y'all don't really know how to clear these demons, so I'm back. I'll do it for you. It's fine. It's fine. But I do wish, we could have a conversation about some kind of 401k for me because this is getting quite taxing.
Okay, is it okay if I touch you? Yeah. Okay, cool. And what are your pronouns?
They, them.
She, they. I'm glad we exchanged those.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad that you came in today.
So, okay, if I touch you.
Go right ahead.
And what are your pronouns?
He, him.
She, her. Thanks
Shocking.
for asking earlier.
Okay, so
This is too much talking for me. For a hair appointment. What are your pronouns? What's your problem? Better question, what's your problem? Way too much talking for me, and how do you expect to cut the hair without touching it, babe? Are we using gravitational waves like they did in pyramids? Like, I don't understand. I don't think there's ever been a better time to reach over, grab a little coin, a little dollar bill, and put it in the Blair White was right jar. Preferably this one. Hi. Because this is what I've been saying all along. There's not a better example that I've seen in a long time. That this obsession, this weirdo fixation that y'all have on pronouns out there in the world is clearly so much less about trans at this point that it's almost irrelevant. It's way more to do with y'all needing a goddamn personality, and you're not even trans. This is a bunch of non-trans liberals participating in this weirdo ritual because that's what they want to do. Like, if I was in the chair and Miss Thing asked me my pronouns, I'm taking that as an insult. So that's how you know this is not geared towards the, acceptance or to make trans people feel safe. Because I would be a little bit shook. Girl, if you don't shut the fuck up and just cut that damn hair. Truly. Do the thing I paid you for, sis. Because interrogating me about my gender is something I would find offensive. And I'm trans, so we're doing this for you, narcissist. You're doing this for you, narcissist. You're not helping anybody. I see through you. Is that scary?
I just started reading the Quran and I am so excited about it. People thought when I first asked that I just wanted to read it out of curiosity, but I want to read it to study it. I started following somebody on social media that teaches the Quran and hosts a Quran book club for Muslims and non-Muslims, so I'm really excited to start going to that. She was describing the chapter of the bee and that just blew my mind. Like the way that she describes things, the way that the Quran describes things actually makes sense to me. And also, did you know that Allah is beyond gender?
You're beyond help. See, I have never seen anyone with such complex fakeness. I mean, your fakeness, your fake bitch energy is so multi-tiered, it's so meta that it's actually shocking. There are multiple layers. So first, you are appropriating being trans. So now you are appropriating being a trans Muslim, and you are doing it from America. The same thing that a week ago you said
We are in stage 7 of genocide in America for trans people.
I hate her. And I just wonder if America is a place that is so dangerous for trans people that it is a genocide occurring. What do you think is going on in Muslim countries? I mean, these are just the things I beg you to think about.
And what about when adults employ misgenders you intentionally?
While he's talking, you're talking.
You just misgendered me again. Multiple times. Both of you have.
It wasn't intentional, but if you want to take it personal, that's also.
Well, she did do it intentionally twice.
You're talking to me too.
You said she and then you said he.
You're being condescending, and if you want to continue, I have full authority to escort you out the building right this moment if you want to play that game with me. Would you like to continue 3 days before Christmas? I really don't mind.
I'm good, I'll just put this on.
You know, I would hate trans people if I wasn't trans. My God. How dare you, bitch? How dare you sit up here and abuse a customer service employee and pretend as if it is not so visible that you are literally just in the midst of a narcissistic tirade, that this has to do with you never having an ounce of power in your little Tweedledum life. And now, he discovered this wonderful thing called trans. And now, he is able to use language to verbally abuse people in public and not be seen as a monster doing it. You're a monster, babe. You're a beast. You're a beast. Your behavior's beastie, and that voice is real beastie too, which is why people might call you he. And you know that. You know that. You hear yourself. You played this back before you posted it. You heard that. You just misgendered me. You heard it, right? And anyone with a bit of common sense can see that that misgendering that was on the camera was completely accidental. I'm sorry. This whole personal responsibility thing, I know y'all are allergic to that, but if you don't want people to call you he, there are some steps you could probably take, right? And that has nothing to do with other people, right? I know that's a very foreign concept, right? But I'm just offering some solutions to your problem here. You're clearly in distress. Shout out to the man who did not let it go down like that and stood up for himself. He really ate with that. He was hungry. He was just scrolling before work that morning, saw some other weirdo trans shit, and he knew just what to say if he were to encounter it in real life, and he did. And he ate down. This is the frustrating thing for me. It's like these people who clearly just have a sick desire to abuse people and looked for a socially acceptable way to do it, trans pronoun usage, found their method. Like, it would have been anything. Like, it's trans, but it would have been anything that worked. You know, these losers who are at the bottom of the totem pole of society, and he figured out how to get one notch higher on the totem pole. He figured out how to push one person down a little bit lower through words, through language, by, you know, attacking public service agents. There's a reason why it's so often people in public, right? Because these employees are, you know, held hostage by policies, by these airlines and these companies in general that make it so they have to put up with your bullshit. But the only way to solve this is to keep looking crazy on camera. So thank you, sir. 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 And thank you to the gentleman who stood up for himself. Because like I said, he ate.
I've had it with the word blessed. I've had it.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
can't
I
do
have
that.
had it up to my eyeballs. I'm out. A guy just delivered UPS, and he handed me the box, and he said, "Have a blessed day." And I just stood there with my jaw open, thinking, does he not know that I don't like the word blessed? Which of course he doesn't,
Well,
but it
how
just
would he know?
irritates the. Have a blessed day as opposed to why can't you just have a
great
good
day.
day?
Right. Have a good
Who
day.
the fuck is out there blessing my day? A blessed day? What the f does that mean?
Right. Bless your heart, baby. You know, I'm someone who believes in self-love. But if you have centered yourself so hard that you can even fix your crooked, frankly neat little Botox face to mouth the words, doesn't he know I don't like the word black? No, he doesn't, Karen. He doesn't. Because he doesn't know you, and he's trying to be nice. And you're such a certain point a problem that there was like such little representation of other races, other cultures, other whatevers. Like that was actually a problem, and it was actually addressed. But this is the problem with libs: is they're all brakes, no gas. It's like they're never actually going to find an end or a solution to a problem. They're just going to find a problem and pretend as if it persists forever. So, at what point are you creating a false reality and creating a situation where it appears as if the majority of the country doesn't look like that, when in fact that they do? They do. You're goofy, Gretchen. You're goofy and you need to get a grip.
pillow
and his mattress and his couch.
and his pillow cooper.
Jeff Edwards, what's going on? This is a pretty serious video, so I don't want to make it too lighthearted at the front of it. It's actually pretty frightening, this video. And I've got a couple of my own stories. Hurricane didn't really experience much of what I'm going to talk about
No, I haven't seen it so far.
so far, but I've had a couple of experiences that were pretty sketchy. Michelle, good evening. And I'm not gonna say hi to people as you come in. We will stop tonight and do some questions since it's a Sunday night. But let me get this out. Missing truckers. Missing truckers. This is a business, number one, that you can disappear if you want to. You can come out here on the road and you can disappear, especially if you're over the road or if you're regional. You can come out and disappear. You know, keep all your socials off, travel to the picks and drops, and just be left alone. But you're not left alone out here on the highways and byways of America by the demons that are restless right now. Where's the picture of the guy? David Schultz, up here in Iowa. Miss Pamela B., what's going on up here in Iowa? David Schultz. This is him. I don't have StreamYard hooked up yet up here, so that's a picture of David Schultz and his two kids. I guess that's his truck behind him. It's a long nose. It's David Schultz. He's 43, I think is what it was. November, that's good. November, and I'll put these pictures and I'll put the link to the video, or pardon me, the link to the articles that I'm talking about in the description once we're done. He was coming out of, let me show you the map on this. He was coming out of, there you go. I'm going to show you on the map where he was coming out of.
We're high tech.
He was leaving out of Eagle Grove, Iowa, which is right here. And he was coming over to Sac City, S-A-C City. He was delivering hogs. It's about an hour and 15, hour and 20-minute ride. Coming across 20, and it was about 11:51 at night, they saw him on a traffic camera in his truck coming west on 20 out of Eagle Grove to the hog delivery place. He was delivering live hogs like you deliver the live beef. They saw him on this road. They saw the truck. They took a picture of it. Initially, they thought there was somebody with him, even though he drives solo, which is kind of freaky. But they said, no, we think he was by himself. He never showed up, but he's on this road heading this way. They find his truck on 71. You'll see the arrow sticking up. Matter of fact, this whole map is the screen cap of the video that you're watching now. They showed his truck, or they found his truck, because he never showed up. They found his truck northbound on 71 coming away from Sac City, and you can put that down now, babe. He had all his stuff in it, even though he wasn't in it. They found his jacket on the side of the road, away from the truck, on the side of the road, the other side of the road. His cell phone, all the stuff was in the truck. And I'm gonna tell the story, but I want to ask you guys that are watching, what's happened to you in these kind of situations? The guy was a younger guy. He had 2 young kids. He and his wife, don't know if they're having any problems, but here's the thing. His cell phone was left in the truck, you know? Wow, that's heavy.
Definitely would try to help him, but I'm not an expert.
He didn't have anything with him except what he had on his body. I don't know if he had his wallet in his. I don't carry a wallet on me. I never ever have a wallet on me, ever. That way, if I get robbed, I just got to worry about me.
In fact, ladies, I don't carry a purse anymore, or British people say handbag. I don't carry a purse. I don't carry a purse ever, even now when I'm out of the truck, because of grab and snatch or anything like that. Because I've learned from being in the truck not to carry a lot of stuff with me because of that. So I only carry like my wallet and my phone when I'm going to buy something when I come back. Otherwise, it sits in the vehicle. Obviously not seen. So yeah.
And I didn't see in the article that his wallet was left in the truck, but his cell phone was, some other things were, maybe his wallet was, I don't know. They haven't found it. November 20th of 2023, they have not found it. He never delivered the hogs. The hogs were in the back of the vehicle. The truck's pointing away from where he's supposed to drop them.
Quite the opposite way, isn't it?
It was pointing north on 71. You got to go south on 71 from where he was to get back to the hog farm to drop them off. And there was no call for help. There was no call to his company. There was nothing. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think. Now, the wife she's had some psychics get involved. And they've said they see him, they say it's bad, and they see him in their psychic revelations, which that's just talking to demons, but demons know what's going on. That they see him tied up and bound and gagged in a room. Don't know if it's true. The police have no leads, because you would think if it was anything where he was maybe he had somebody riding with him, and she was a side piece, and the side piece had a side dude that say, hey, well, let's rob this guy tonight on the run. When you're with him, I'll meet you on this road. Tell him you want to go down this road to do this, and I'll meet you. You pull over, act like I need help. If it was one of those things, you would think they would have found text messages, emails, because doggone well the police have gone through all his text messages and his wife's text messages. Because the other thing too is the very first thing they do when somebody goes missing, especially if you're married, they're going to check your spouse too, because maybe she had him, something happened to him. Maybe she had a little bit of something going on with that. So you can't rule anybody out. But she's not a suspect. Apparently, there was nothing on the phone records. They just say he's just disappeared.
Silence, complete, just off the grid.
And I tell you all that because it's tough enough out here in trucking, and you want to help, you want to stop, you want to help people, but nowadays with the activities going on, you almost can't risk it. Especially as a female, you cannot risk it. I had a couple incidents. You want to show the picture of?
Yeah.
I have another map. For me, I was coming down to Laredo when I first got with GNP. I drove all the other stuff. I drove all the other stuff they had with GNP, and about 2 months in, I said, "Hey, can I get on some of these runs going to Laredo?" Because I was willing to stay out for 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, even though you didn't need to be with GNP. I'm like, I want to get my experience, man. I want long runs. I want to stretch it out. I don't want to do this Charlotte to Atlanta. And luckily for me, a hurricane hit in Louisiana and hit down in the eastern part of Texas that year, and some of the truckers in our company got caught down there, and they couldn't get back through because of the interstates. And they said, "Hey, will you run some of this stuff? Because you've asked us if you can go down there and run." I said, "Yeah, I'll go down. Gladly." But see, that's the thing too. With when you get on a run like that, like I was begging for it, I wasn't about to mess up and let anything get in the way of that. I'm like, I'm going to run. I'm going to be out for 6, 8 weeks. I'm going to be your best long-term driver, or long-distance driver that doesn't expect to do a 34, because I ran recaps. I'm like, I'm going to run recaps, run 7 days a week. I'm coming down out of Charlotte, picked the load up in Atlanta, and I'm coming down, and I came the south side of Houston. This is Laredo down here. I came the south side of Houston because it said that 10 that night, it was about 6:30, but the sun was going down. And it said that 10 going west had a major traffic jam over here near San Antonio. Even though you can take a feeder road south of San Antonio, I'm like, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump down and take this back road. This back road is an authorized truck route, and it only adds about 15, 20 minutes to the trip, but you are in rural areas. So I took this route right here to get down to Laredo to try and avoid this traffic jam, because I couldn't stand sitting in traffic. You can put that down, pretty girl. Is it legal to have blue eyes as blue as yours are? So I took that road. And let me preface this story with the fact, when I lived in Virginia Beach, when I was there, you had a couple feeder roads into the beach. You had 2 bridges, actually 3 bridges that came into Virginia Beach. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 bridges that came into Virginia Beach. The 2 on the Hampton Road side that fed into Virginia tunnel, one was just a bridge. When you get off those bridges and off those tunnels, you hit some feeder interstate, you know, like the I-295 versus I-95. They had people getting robbed all the time on those because people would be pulled over at 2 in the morning, acting like they had a flat tire. They'd have some, you know, little fine tenderoni standing out by the vehicle looking all, I need help. Somebody pulls over and all of a sudden the dude steps out of the back of the car and goes, hey, give us all your money. They had that kind of stuff happen a lot more than they talked about. If you know anything about living at an oceanfront area, they don't ever report the true crime numbers that are going on. They don't want to scare people. So that kind of stuff happened a lot where people would get held up because they were trying to be a good Samaritan and stop at 2 in the morning. I'm coming down that back road heading into Laredo. And again, I hope they find David Schultz. It's been this long, there's been no word. God bless him.
Not knowing, I think, is the hardest thing, isn't it?
I was coming down the back way, coming out of Houston into Laredo. I had been driving trucks for maybe at this point, maybe 5 months. I was still just a puppy in tall grass in trucking, but I wasn't a puppy in tall grass in life. And I was coming the back way into Laredo, and I could see up ahead of me on a 2-lane road. I had tree line to my left because there was a bunch of trees on one side of that road for quite a bit of miles once you get out of some of these smaller cities. I saw up ahead of me about 1.5 miles, I saw flashing lights, 4-ways. And I thought, well, somebody's broken down. I get up close, and there were like 4 or 5 guys in a full-size, looked like a Chevy pickup truck, and I know vehicles because I used to, you know, run car dealerships. Full-size white Chevy pickup truck, quad cab, full 4 doors, full cab. And they were all standing outside of it, and the car, the truck was actually almost blocking the lane they were in. They were coming the opposing way. And they were almost blocking the lane that I was in, but not quite, and they were coming this way. And I'm going, so they're coming this way, I'm going this way. They were coming northeast, and I was going southwest. That's the best way to put it.
Tide is busting laundry's biggest myth.
That cold water can't clean.
Cold water on those stains?
Cold water can't clean tough stains?
I'd say that myth is busted. Turn to cold with Tide.
But there was 4 or 5 guys. And it was probably at that point 9 o'clock, maybe 9:30 by the time I hit that area, maybe 10, but it was totally dark. Wasn't a ton of traffic because that road's not heavily traveled. It's more local and regional traffic than it is, you know, truckers. Most truckers take 10 and then drop down into Laredo off of 10. And these guys were waving me down to stop. And I'm like, I'm a big guy. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so. There's 4 or 5 of you guys, you gotta have a cell phone. This was only in 2016, 2017, actually 2016. Because I got the GNP in February of 2016, so it would have been September, October. And they're on the road trying to wave me down to slow me down, and I'm by myself. And at that point, I did not have my pew-pew with me. Because I was a good boy, because GNP said you can't carry your pew-pew. Just an aside note, and you didn't hear this on my channel, so if I'm going to ask about it, just Men in Black, you didn't hear me say it. I've never met a retired police officer ever in my life that said they didn't carry wherever they went, regardless of state laws. Never had it told to me. And they said, I'd rather be, judged by 12 than carried by 6. So, but I didn't have my pew-pew with me. And even though I'm a big guy, there's 5, 6 guys standing outside this big white pickup truck, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, man. You got cell phones, what am I going to do, tow you? No, I'm not going to tow you. And at that point, I was going down with the load, so I was under a load. When I pulled tanker in the oil field, actually I pulled off-road diesel in Pocatello for about 6 months. Everything shut down, and I had to go up to Billings, Great Falls. I had to go up to the Great Falls tank farm and get some off-road diesel to bring back down to the mines that are down there in just south of the border in Idaho, just past the border. There's some mines up there in the mountains, and I had to cut. And when I came back through, I'm like, well, I want to allegedly avoid the way station that's on interstate, so I went the back way and came through Yellowstone at 2 in the morning. Same thing. There was a van that was pulled over to the side of the road. I was going, at this point, I was going south. The van was going north. It was a 2-lane road. They were pulled over, 4 ways on. There was a woman standing outside trying to wave me down. But I saw a guy standing on the other side of the van. And I'm like, man, you surely have a cell phone. And I know that they might not get here quickly, but here's the out I had there. Pulling hazmat with the company I was with, they were adamant, you don't stop for anybody. Anybody, anything. You stop for the POPO and DOT, and that is it. You stop if you had an accident, that is it. You don't stop for anything or anybody. You don't stop to try to render aid. I know it goes against some people's, I want to be a good person. I went by them and began slowing down because there was a lake to the side of where they pulled over. And I began slowing down a little bit. And I'm going to finish the story about the Latinos in Laredo, or heading to Laredo, with this same story. As I got by their van, it was a little green or dark blue van. As I got by it, I saw the woman very clearly. I saw the guy on the other side. I couldn't tell if there was a kid inside. And as I got by, I began slowing down and kind of pulling over, going, well, I know what we're told about stopping, but should I?
At KFC, you can get 2 new snacker wraps for $5.
2 for $5?
But I just made all this juice.